So this is going to be me rambling on for about 10 minutes about all the problems that I am now attempting to correct with my tank. I decided a couple of months ago that I wanted to keep fish again. Now, I had had tanks, 7, 8 years ago. All of my information was out of date, so I did a quick look around on some forums and figured I had all of the information that I needed to go ahead and jump back into this. Well, the problem was that I didn't, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to talk about them just a little bit. First mistake that I made, I didn't plan everything out properly. I had a vague idea that I wanted some peaceful community fish, but I did not decide what kinds. So as a result, I have kind of a mishmash of fish in the tank. I have some, just standard hardy feeder guppies. They were there to kind of help cycle the tank. I like them. I like buying feeder fish sometimes because otherwise they're going to get eaten. So I bring a few home and I put them in the tank. So I didn't decide what exactly I wanted to keep. I knew that I wanted to keep a lot of bottom feeders because I love bottom feeders. I love snails. I love odos and cories and things like that. Cories are my absolute favorite. Second mistake that I made was I did not invest or wait around until I could invest in some really good lighting. I have two of your standard basic hoods, which you really can't see without the light, but I have to keep the light down in order to be able to see the tank. But they're just all glass hoods. They have one light bulb in each, and in those light bulbs, or in those sockets, whatever the hell you want to call it, in those sockets I have two fluorescent bulbs. So right now I have less than a watt per gallon. This is a 40-gallon long tank. I'll zoom out just a little bit here. You can get the whole thing. But yeah, there's 2 light bulbs lighting this tank. I know now that I need to invest in some better lights. Next mistake that I made. I did not plan to have a planted tank. I knew that I wanted to put a couple of plants in there, but I didn't really realize that, you really have to start before you even put the tank together. You have to put some good substrate down. I am currently using pool filter sand, which works. It's fine. It's not going to produce any lush growth in this tank, but for my purposes, it should be okay, especially with the dosing with fertilizers. Next mistake. I should have planned out what kind of plants I wanted in the tank, but that kind of goes along with having not planned for a planted tank to begin with. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about that. Next mistake, doing a fish in cycle. This is the way that I did it previously. So I thought that everything was okay. Maybe I blocked it out in my mind. I don't know. I might have blocked out the trauma. It really wasn't that bad. I only lost like 2 fish, and that was a couple of zebra danios that, those things live through anything. So I really don't think that it was a problem with my water. I treat the water with prime. I keep an eye on my parameters, and parameters are fine. Ammonia gets a little high, I do a water change. No big deal. Puts it right back to rights. So I think that my water quality is actually okay. I don't have any ammonia. I don't have any other bad stuff. I can never remember if it's nitrates or nitrites that you don't want. But either way, water quality itself is fine. The lighting is bad, and I think that because the lighting quality is bad, I'm starting to get some algae growth. Because I have been putting in some Flourish XL, give it a little bit of extra CO2. But I think that it's more promoting the growth of algae than anything because my lighting situation is so screwed up. But it happens. Another problem that I'm having is some brown diatomic algae, which is normal in a newly set up tank. It'll eventually go away on its own. I have 3 Otocinclus in this tank somewhere. I can never find the little boogers. But they're in here, and they're slowly working on taking care of the algae problem. So I'm not too worried about that. It'll eventually go away on its own. I am starting to get some green algae, a little fluffy looking algae. So I'm going to probably pick up a nearite snail here in the next few days so we can try to work on getting rid of that. I think also I'm leaving my lights on for a little bit too long during the day. So yeah, I mean, I have a standard Penguin 350 hang on back filter. Nothing exciting. I actually have no complaints about the filter. My water looks really good. I'm not having any problems with a lot of noise or anything like that. I have the blue filter media, the blue fiber filter media, and some white micro, God, what do they call it? Micro something, micro fluff. We'll call it micro fluff, and Purigen. And those are the three things that I have in my tank. I have not changed out the filter media. I have not cleaned it. I have not done anything. I'm still trying to build up my beneficial bacteria in this tank because it is only about a month and a half old. The cycle is chugging along. It's doing its thing. It's just got to be patient for right now. Plans in the future. I have a couple of soda bottles back behind the tank that I'm going to make a DIY CO2 system with. I'm also going to get some non-Excel Flourish, the kind that actually has the fertilizer in it, because one of my other mistakes was that I thought Flourish Excel actually contained fertilizers, and it does not. It only contains CO2. And yeah, I kind of had that covered, with my DIY project. So I don't want to overdo it on the CO2, so I am not making the CO2 reactors just yet. I'm going to stick with the XL until I can get some better lighting. Because I think at this point, if I added more, then I would probably just gas my fish. Next mistake that I made was not planning out what plants I could actually keep. So as a result now, I've got some issues happening in my tank with the plants. They are starting to get wilty. They're starting to turn white. Some of them are getting leggy. I'm not quite sure how to save it at this point. I guess add some fertilizer. I don't really have any options for the lighting just yet. I think I'm just going to have to deal with crappy looking plants until I can get some light in a few months. But yeah, that's new mistakes that I've made, and I'm probably going to make a lot more. There's going to be more mistakes. There's going to be more frantic fixing. But I got a pretty good community of people that I can ask most of my questions to, and they give me good advice. So yeah, there's another zoom out of the tank, and hopefully this is helpful to somebody who is about to start up their tank to know what not to do. Things that you should not do is skimp on your filtration. You should also not skimp on your lighting if you're planning on having any plants in your tank. And you really should plan out what kind of plants you're going to be able to keep beforehand. Look at your lighting, figure out what your watts per gallon is, and figure it out from there. Because you don't want to be putting any highlight plants in a tank that's not going to provide enough light for them, because they're just going to shrivel up and die, kind of like mine are doing right this second. So yeah, good luck, and I will post some updates at some point on how the renovation of this tank is going after I get some lighting, after I get some fertilizers, after things start looking a little bit better.